So in this video, I'm going to launch into Black Moon Lilith in your chart if you're female. And again, that's female as in your physical sex. It doesn't matter your gender identity, it doesn't matter your sexuality. Your body works in a certain way based on your sex. And then, basically, if you don't know what Black Moon Lilith is, please watch the introduction video that I created for that. And I'll assume you have that knowledge. So let me start by saying that Black Moon Lilith equates on the tree of life to the path of Qoph, Qoph, that connects Malkuth, or the earth, with Netzach, which is basically the Manipura chakra. It's fire, it's that which assimilates, and it's something that is associated with our emotional being. The function of it in the ideal occult anatomy is to worship your inner deity. So it's bhakti yoga. It's essentially loving everything in your universe so as to unify with it and through it your god or goddess. So that's the function of Netzach. So you're thinking about a sphere that's to do with love and bringing energy back up to the source in the divine, and the physical, elemental, even demonic parts of you. So getting that powerful feminine force of the body working in tandem with that love principle. So that's what the path of Qoph is all about. There's a lot to say about it, but I'm going to be just try to be as simplistic as I can in this video. If you're female, you can work that path automatically almost. So on the astral plane, which is corresponding to Yesod on the Tree of Life, the female is dominant, active, dynamic, however you want to put that, versus the plane above that, which is the Ruach, or the intellectual plane, in which the feminine is receptive. So we work them differently depending on our body, but in both cases, we're all divine beings working with our vehicle. So the female working the astral plane basically just works with bare intent. That's to do with your dreaming, how you dream something. You're investing your sexual energy into it. That's what gets the astral plane moving. So it's basically by dreaming with sexual energy behind it, you can intend something, preferably to be working with your will, the true will, or the will of the humanity coming through your incarnation. And in that mode, you can work the path of Qoph directly. Now, Black Moon Lilith tells you more specifically how you work that path. So because Black Moon Lilith is talking about how you access your sexual energy for will, you can look at both the sign and the house to try to figure out. The sign will tell you how, in what manner to work it, and the house will tell you the best focus in terms of the department of life that tends to come through. So just to give you a couple of random examples, just to give you more concreteness, if you have, let's say, Black Moon Lilith in Virgo, then on the positive side of Virgo, what you're essentially saying is you're working your physical elemental body through the astral with the intent of purifying yourself. So it's like with the Virgo Black Moon Lilith, you're trying to essentially pay attention to all the fine little details to discriminate through analysis the differences between yourself and anything else that you're choosing to think about. Now, of course, you're always balancing that with the recognition that you're one with everything, because if you really truly believe you're separate from it, you can't work bhakti, which is Netzach. You have to understand that every last thing in your universe is a reflection of God's will through your incarnation. So it's really all one thing, just refracted out in different ways, according to different lenses, which are your chakras, basically. So with Virgo, again, you're trying to use analysis and fine discrimination in order to perfect yourself through that action, through taking your physical elemental self and dedicating it through the astral to will or to love of your deity. So that's an example of a sign. And then as far as a house goes, let's say you had that in the first house. Well, then directly what you're saying is that you're the material that you're primarily working with is your body, because the first house is your body and your astral plane. So that's a very strong focus, saying you're almost like a natural worker in this way. But let's say you have it in a different house. Like let's just say you have it in your eighth house, for example. Well, the eighth house has to do with death and rebirth. So it's a very strongly almost shamanic house, because it's talking about journeys that force the ego to die, and then to become reborn again. So you have to become an expert in death. Now, there's all kinds of ways that could happen. I mean, you could be journeying with people who are dying. You could be basically, depending on what else is in your chart, you could be working toward learning how to die to your own ego. That could be a big focus this lifetime. There's all kinds of possibilities. You can never look at Black Moon Lilith in isolation, but whatever house it's in your natal chart is going to show you sort of like your lifelong curriculum of how you're to apply this action of basically directing your sexuality toward love of your deity through astral journeying. I hope this is helpful. I know there's a lot that I didn't say, but it's trying to give you some notion. And if you have questions, please ask me, because a lot of times I will make these videos in response to people's questions.